you're a teacher, you've done it. You graded on a Sunday night. Remember that feeling? It's 11 p.m. Sunday, you're on essay 34, just started your second class of essays. You're tired, your coffee's room temperature, and you can't drink it anyway because you won't be able to get to sleep. And you just realized you haven't actually read the last 3 paragraphs of Caleb's writing. Instead, you found a reason in paragraph 4, Caleb earned a B plus and move on. All you want is to go to sleep, but you know your students need this feedback for their revision lesson you plan tomorrow. So you keep grading miserable. We tell ourselves that human feedback's the gold standard, but the truth is we're actually trading depth of feedback for survival. So today I'm going to make a controversial argument. AI feedback isn't just faster, it's actually higher quality than what a burnt out human can produce approaching midnight. And when I say feedback, I mean more than the good job sticker. I mean comments on student writing that does these 3 things that Hattie argues are required for feedback to achieve its effects. First, it shows how a student did in relation to some learning target. Then, it coaches the student on how they should improve to achieve that standard. And third, the student has to actually use the feedback to improve. I would posit to you, AI feedback is fresher, more objective, and helps the student practice more than some idealized version of our own human feedback. So we're going to look at 3 ways that AI beats the red pen: freshness, objectivity, and iteration. So feedback's a lot like milk. It's perishable. The student writes a draft on a Monday, gets it back 2 weeks later. It doesn't matter how good the feedback is, it's spoiled. The students moved on, their brains cleared the cache, and sometime in the last 50 class periods between when they wrote that thing and when they got your feedback, it's no surprise they forgot. When we use AI, the loop closes in seconds, not weeks, and the student comes to class the next day still in the flow. Their ideas are still warm enough that they can actually use the feedback to improve their writing. So don't listen to naysayers that say that speed is about convenience and that we're cheating. No, that's wrong. Speed is actually a pedagogical imperative. If students can't use the feedback to improve, they might as well throw it in the trash on the way out. Just words on a page, not words about their words on a page. Here's a dirty secret. Humans like to think we're objective, but most of the time we aren't. It's called the halo effect. If a student has a halo around them, that halo blinds us to some of the other potential shortcomings. So if Sarah's a straight A student, a joy to have in class, you might subconsciously overlook her weak transitions. Or if a student's having a really hard time, maybe we don't give feedback that they might need to hear about their writing. The AI doesn't know Sarah, it doesn't know Leo, it doesn't know how a student's doing outside, doesn't know their GPA or who sat in the back of the room or put their head down on their desk or threw paper airplanes that day. All an AI knows is the rubric and the writing in front of them. That context that we often think of as an advantage can actually hinder being objective and giving our students the feedback that they might need. So AI can provide that cold objectivity that it's impossible for a human to maintain. Even if we could do it 50 times, who could do that 100 times in a few hours? AI feedback lets our students iterate faster than our human feedback could possibly allow them. Because grading takes us so long, we usually only assign 1 draft before a final piece of writing. And that's like a basketball coach saying, it's okay, just you get 1 shot this practice, and then we're going to play the game tomorrow. It doesn't make any sense. AI totally changes that math because it's instant. Students can submit 3, 4, 5 drafts and get in those reps that they actually need to improve. By the time we, the teacher, the human, reads their writing, the AI has coached them through a lot of the basics that we would have written on most of the student papers anyways, and told us what our lessons needed to be about to help our students improve along the way. So we need to stop acting like secretaries, checking for comma splices, basic thesis structure like proofreaders. And we as teachers really need to start offloading some of that labor onto AI. And once we do that, instead of spending more time grading, we actually get to spend more time teaching students. And that's not because we're outsourcing our teaching, it's because we're clearing administrative clutter so we can actually have time during a class to talk to students about their ideas and their writing. That doesn't mean we aren't responsible for reading their writing. What it means is we can have AI help us write thesis on 1,000,000 papers, but in a better way than we could have ourselves. So if you want to stop trading your life for good enough feedback and embrace the AI revolution, I recommend CoGrader. It's the best bulk essay grader I've used. Just try uploading 1 batch of student writing to it. Even if you don't give the students the feedback, the analytics are going to be really powerful in telling you exactly what your lesson needs to be tomorrow. And your students are going to start to see a lot more relevance. They'll start to be more engaged. Those are all things I saw in my class. So Try CoGrader. See if it catches things you missed because you might have been tired. And feel free to reclaim your weekends. You deserve them. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and definitely make sure to try CoGrader to get your weekends back.